Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my gaming check-ins. Now this is a series where I take about 3 months of just playing my games and all that, and then report back to you guys on how many games I beat, how many games I'm playing currently, and what are the games I look forward to. And you could take this as mini reviews for each game on this list, more specifically the ones that I beat. Now this covers the months between August and October. Now in those months I beat a total of, drumroll please, 4 games, which is not bad. And if I'm doing my math right, that means I beat 12 games in total for this year so far. It puts me at a ratio of 1.5 games beaten per month, which is weird because I beat half of a game. You get what I mean. I am beating my games. Now let's go over the games that I beat. The first game on the list is Atelier, Escha, and Logy. Now Atelier, Escha, and Logy is my second game in my ongoing series of beating every modern Atelier game. The first one I beat earlier in this year, Atelier Escha, so in the midway point I thought, let me put in another Atelier game, and I chose Atelier, Escha, and Logy, which is the second game in the Atelier Dust trilogy. Now to be frank, this Atelier game has to be one of the best Atelier games of all time. It has quickly become one of my top 5 Atelier games and my second favorite of all time. Not only did it improve on a lot of the things that I felt were kind of clunky in Escha, but it also introduced a lot of new mechanics that fleshed the world out, and I love the characters so much. Now you could play as Escha or Logy, which is something new and refreshing, not only because you get to pick a protagonist, but the other protagonist is a male. Now in saying that, I did end up playing Escha's route first, though I do plan on doing a new game plus for Logy. And if you want to get the best ending, you're gonna have to play through both anyways. Now I do love Escha. She's nice and bubbly, very kind, and a little naive, whereas Logy is more serious and analytical. They're like yin and yang basically, and I think that was on purpose because they wanted to contrast the different personalities. Now the two protags are not the only characters. There's a host of other side characters that add their own personality to the table, and might I add, it's one of the strongest supporting casts I've seen in a Atelier game in a while. Everybody's different, everyone's unique, making for a very entertaining game. Not only that, we get returning characters from Atelier Escha, so if anybody played Escha, there's a nice reward to see these characters again. Now the story for Atelier Escha and Logy is very basic Atelier fanfare, so the story in the game is mostly figuring out what is going on, exploring the sky ruins and what happened there, and doing the research for the R&D division. But it's a little bit more impactful because the dust phenomenon has started to fully set in the world. So as you could guess, the Dust trilogy takes place in a world where this ongoing dust is slowly killing away life, and in Atelier Escha and Logy, it has progressed quite a bit. So that is the gist of the story of Atelier Escha and Logy. Nothing too big, but I feel like the characters really help in pushing the narrative and just overall enjoyment of the game. Alrighty, now onto the gameplay. Now the gameplay is in 2 parts, one of them being the combat and the other being the synthesis. Now the combat in Atelier Escha and Logy is really good. It's an improvement from Escha. It's nothing big or bombastic like we see in Ryza, but it is still very fun, and you do have a lot of combos, and each character has a flashy special move, which I honestly really love that. But it's not something I would classify as why the game is so great. For me, the game is so great is because of the synthesis and alchemy. Now this alchemy takes a lot from Atelier Escha, but makes it way better and aesthetically pleasing and more understandable. Now this game does have a time mechanic, but when I say it's lenient, I mean it's freaking lenient. It's almost invisible. It's more like you have moments where you have to do your task and then turn it in, nothing too big. You have more than enough time to do what you have to do, and then extra. Now I think I said everything I have to say about this game. It was fantastic, one of my favorite Atelier games so far. I'm really excited to jump into the 3rd one, and I can't wait to do a new game plus and play as Logy as well. Now next on the games that I beat is Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. Now this was a code provided to me by Nintendo, so thank you Nintendo. I'm a strong believer that they should have dropped it in October instead of August, because it's like, oh wow, a spooky themed game. game, where should we put it? Yes, in the middle of freaking summer. Perfect. Aesthetic game dropping aside, the game was really fun. Now, oddly enough, they changed the title, so it was called Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon for the 3DS, and then they changed it to Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. I don't know why they did that. My guess is because they wanted to sound a little bit more better in the trilogy. So you got Luigi's Mansion 1, Luigi's Mansion 2, and Luigi's Mansion 3. Now, it's called Dark Moon for a reason. The whole point of the story is to capture the Dark Moon pieces to make it whole again, and to save the ghost, which, why would you save ghosts? They're already dead. And to give EGAG a new supply of free labor. I love the Luigi's Mansion series. My favorite has to be the third one, but I do love all three games very much. The gameplay is really solid and works sometimes. It has the usual ghost hunting, puzzle solving, and sucking up anything that moves with the satisfying poltergeist. As the second game in the trilogy, it does ramp up from the first game when it comes to locations and different modes. The different mansions you get to explore are very diverse and have a lot of personality in them, from a gardening tower, clockwork tower, and the traditional mansion. It's a nice departure from the first game that had you stuck in one mansion. Now, a lot of people say Luigi's Mansion 2 is the weakest in the series, and I do have to agree. I feel it was mainly because the ghosts in this game weren't really unique. They were very copy and paste. You have the brute ghost, the green traditional ghost. Now, they do have different gimmicks to them and how you suck them up. God damn. So they do have variety, but just not any good variety. And some of the missions do get very repetitive. And I found myself getting bored a bit at some points. So I get why it's the weakest in the trilogy. I'm not saying it's bad. It's actually really good and fun. It's just not as good as the first or the third. Next game on the list is Emio the Smiling Man. Now, this is another game that should have came out in October, but again, what do I know? Now, this game has to be my sleeper pick of this year. It is really good. Now, Emio the Smiling Man was another game that Nintendo gave to me as a copy, so thank you, Nintendo. Now, Emio the Smiling Man is a third game in the Famicom Detective Club series. Now, don't let the visual novel aspect fool you. This game is really exciting and keeps you on the edge of your seat. Now, right off the bat, if you don't like visual novels like at all, then I don't think you'll love Emio the Smiling Man, because it is as pure as a visual novel could be. Now, any important thing in a visual novel is the story. The story is really tightly written, and playing this whole game, I could confidently say this is one of Nintendo's boldest and darkest games that they ever developed. So yes, this is Nintendo's first rated M game, and it deserves that rated M because oof, it could get brutal. Now, this is a good example of a story that kept me guessing, which is good because it's a mystery novel. If the mystery wasn't there, it will probably fall flat, but it still kept me guessing all the way to the very end. And it was an unexpected twist. Now, I will say that this mystery is not meant to really give you a lot of twists. Some of the stuff you could actually see coming, but it's equally as intriguing as a, surprise twist, mainly because you want to know how things got to that point and why things got to that point. And I will say that the last 2 hours in this game is very satisfying, seeing how everything wraps up and plays out. And there's an actual epilogue of this game, which gives you more information about the character, which honestly gave me a very visceral reaction. And that's mostly where the rated M stuff comes into play, is the epilogue. Now, I will say that this game offers a lot of fun and unique characters with their own little stories going on, and I loved all of them. Well, except a few, but can't really say. So all in all, I loved Emio the Smiling Man. It was a fun experience, and the presentation of this game was so good. The visuals look awesome. The voice acting was great, even though it wasn't in English, but that's whatever. And this story is nicely wrapped in a 12 to 15 hour experience. So it's nothing long, but it's nothing really short as well. You get to really savor the experience and the story being told. And I'm really excited for the future of the Famicom Detective Club games. Now, the last game that I beat is Yeast 9 Monstrum Nox. Hopefully I said that right. Which I stream most of it on my channel, so if you want to check those out, then please check them out. Now, for the story of the game, Idol is imprisoned for being an adventurer, and while escaping, this mysterious woman shoots Idol with this weird serum or something that transforms Idol into a monstrum, and now he's called the Crimson King because of his red hair. It's so iconic. Now, Now, you're not the only one who was turned into a Monstrum Nox by a goth girl. There are actually 5 different other characters that are on the same boat as you. So, Adol and his friends have to figure out the mystery of Balduke Prison. Now, I loved Ys 8. It was one of my favorite early Switch RPGs, so I thought I was gonna have the same reaction with Ys 9, but unfortunately, it didn't really check all the boxes for me. Now, to be fair, I didn't expect this game to be like Ys 8 when it comes to my expectations, but even the stuff that it did bring to the table, I felt like it didn't really deliver. Now, the game itself is really good, and I really enjoyed it, but there was a lot of things I did not like, mostly the atmosphere. So on Ys 9, you are in this city, and your main hubs are the city of Balduke and the prison of Balduke, which in itself is a very aesthetically gothic setting, but it kind of really did not do anything for me. For example, there's these portions of the game where you have to, I guess, progress into the prison of Balduke and discover things, but I felt like it was so disconnected, and that was for a reason, I will give it that. But to me, they were really boring, and it broke the pacing of the game even more. This game has a pacing issue, where each chapter revolves around a certain character, and then there's like 3 chapters where you just literally do nothing, and I felt like they could have condensed those 3 chapters into one. And another thing that I really didn't enjoy was the skirmishes. Basically, you had to protect the crystal from the monsters, and if the crystal breaks, then it's a game over. So if you do the necessary steps of upgrading the crystal, then the skirmishes are not that bad or hard, they're just still really annoying to me. And it was another thing that broke the pace of the game. But hey, there were a lot of aspects of the game that I really adored and loved. Now, this game does a really good effort to flesh out the characters, especially the ones you're working with, because they dedicate a whole chapter about their backstory, how they got into the situation, and what are their goals and stuff. And I've come to really enjoy the characters, especially Doll. Well, her is mostly because her shoes have this wheel function, and it's very fun to navigate the area with them. Speaking of navigation, with these new powers, you get to explore the city of Balduke in a lot of cool ways, like the Crimson King could shoot himself into different points, the Kitty Cat Girl could run up walls, the Pharaoh Hawk could glide. Doll has this third eye thing. It doesn't really help with navigation, but it helps to spot secret stuff. Exploring the city was very fun. Overall, I did really enjoy Ys 9. It's a game that you shouldn't miss it if you're really interested in the Ys series, though it's my least favorite so far. So those were all the games I beat. Yay! Now on to the games that I'm currently playing. The first game is Astro Bot. It is honestly such a fun game, and it comes in handy, especially now when we're having a lot of RPGs delivered. Having a nice, fun platformer game is just the best. Now on to the next game I'm currently playing, and that is Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. This game was provided to me by Nintendo, so thank you, Nintendo. Overall, it's really solid. I am loving it so much. Now, the only criticism I could give this game is I feel like Zelda should be a bit more different personality-wise. So far, she acts like Link, and you really don't get that much expressions from her. I felt like she's missing a lot of the titular Zelda things, especially her sassiness. And there's a lot of menu hopping in this game. You're going to be pressing your Echoes button religiously. But other than that, I'm really enjoying this game, and I'm having a blast. And I will report back to you guys once I finish it. Next one is Mario Party Jamboree. I am loving this game so far. It is really fun. Now, for some early critiques, the mini games in Jamboree seem to be a bit different, and I don't know if I really like them. Now, I do love the different courses and mechanics in this game, and it really looks awesome as well. I still haven't won any game yet, but I do look forward to playing this game a lot, especially on stream. The last game I'm currently playing is Metaphor Refantazio. This game is amazing. It has to be one of my contenders for Game of the Year. And I'm not saying that lightly. I am very early in the game, and I could just feel the epicness that this game has to offer. Now, I did make a video on things you should know about Metaphor before buying it, so check that out if you're interested. Now I'm gonna add more chaos to my plate, because why not? Here are the games that I want to play in the near future. First one is X Nordics. This one comes out this week, actually. I might not play it immediately when it comes out, but it's something I'm going to play fairly soon. The next one is Mario and Luigi Brothership. I can't believe I'm saying this. There's another Mario and Luigi game coming out. If you look at my retrospective, which happened like a few months ago, I legit said, I don't think this series is ever coming back. And now it's coming back in this year. It is truly wild. I love it. Everything about this game looks awesome and I can't wait. So that is it for today's video. Tell me what games you be in, are currently playing, or want to play in the near future in the comments down below. I would love to hear it. If you like this video, then hit that like button. And if you like my channel and would love to see more, then please hit that subscribe button for more content. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. And as always, play a good game. Peace, peace.